Hello. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Success Conversation with Successful Entrepreneurs. And I'm very pumped up tonight because I have a friend, a dear friend, right, who is actually healing from all the way from the other side of this planet, literally healing from the other side of this planet, right? So tonight I have with me Fong Chua from Canada, right? So he's best-selling author. He just finished his sixth book actually, and he's actually going to be writing another two more. That's amazing. I can't imagine how someone writes so many books, right? And also, he's also a business coach as well as a property coach, and he really focuses a lot on helping people attain wealth, attain financial freedom, and living their dream life through coaching. So tonight we have someone who is really experienced, really good at what he does, and really wants to create an impact in the world. And I'm so glad that he has agreed to come on the show tonight with me to share his precious time with you. Because the good news is this, he just has a newborn as well. So congratulations, Paul. Want to say hi?
Hi everybody. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. So Fong, I mean, obviously, right now, I just gave you a short little introduction right here, and many of the people who are watching this, they may or may not know you. Either they are watching it on Facebook, or maybe on YouTube, or even watching the replays later on, even say LinkedIn or anything like that. So, would it be okay that you spend the next few minutes to give a short introduction about yourself?
Yeah, sure, no problem. So first of all, thanks a lot for having me. It's always a joy being able to talk with you, and we always have a good time chatting. So it's nice seeing you again. And for me, it's very early, so good morning. So I was born and raised in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and like most Asian families, we were brought up to work hard and study hard, get a good job, and work in that for the rest of our lives, kind of thing. So I got into engineering and got a job as an engineer. And then once by 2003, once I got a job as 2005, once I got a job as an engineer, I'm like, oh, this is the rest of my life. Until the 2008 downturn came and everything just went downhill. Real estate wasn't doing very well. The economy wasn't doing very well. So that's when I realized, maybe I need to think of something else. And that's when I picked up the very first Rich Dad Poor Dad book. And from there, you go to a webinar, a seminar, and then another conference and training and lots of these courses and whatnot. And that's when we started our real estate journey. We hired a business and then also a real estate coach. And we went from 0 properties up to about 12 and then 20 properties with about 30 doors. So that's how we built up our real estate portfolio. Then, because during that time, once you're interested in real estate, you start looking into other businesses, how to do marketing and branding, gold and silver, how to use insurance and then network marketing and all that kind of stuff. So we were involved with a lot of different types of businesses and other strategies of streams of income. So then people started asking us, so what exactly do you do? Because at the time I was still full-time engineering. And that conversation with them usually takes a good 3-4 hours to talk about all the stuff that I'm involved in. So then my coach then challenged me to write my very first book. And that book now becomes that introduction book. Here, read my book first, and then whichever one you kind of want to get to know a bit more, we'll focus on that conversation on that topic. So then one book led to the second, to the third. So my 5th book was published early this year. And then just 2 days ago, I finished writing the draft to our 6th book. And then our 7th and 8th book is in the works right now. So then after that, we had our coach challenge me to do some speaking. And my first speech was in front of, I think, 100 people who paid, I think, $100 per ticket. And I thought at the time, oh, I get, 45 minutes? And no, you get to speak for 2 hours. I'm like, nice. So after doing that, I got the itch of doing more speaking. I spoke on a few stages, and last year I was honored to be able to speak at Mega Success in front of 2,400 people. That was a lot of fun. And then from there, we did more coaching, one-on-one coaching, helping people how to write books. One of the challenges I put out there to a lot of my clients during this pandemic was you could spend this 3-4 months sitting at home complaining, or you could come out of these 3-4 months becoming a best-selling author. And the 3-4 people that actually took on this challenge did come out as best-selling authors within those 3-4 months. So it's been a great journey for them and for me to be able to add that kind of value to them. For myself, during this pandemic, I launched my podcast, and I also launched my YouTube channel, ramping up more videos, more content, and I have more and more content and more shows coming. And that brings us to today.
Wow, that's super amazing. I mean, from an engineer to writing 6 books to be speaking on international stages, and the speech that you gave in front of the 2,400, I think it was around 2,500 people in the United States, and that speech was amazing. I literally remember every single one of them were like on their feet, shouting and screaming. You were like a Tony Robbins on fire. You're like the ancient Tony Robbins, man. It was crazily good. So for everyone who is watching this right now, for the 7 of you, it's truly amazing that we have this amazing guest with us today. So do me a favor, give us a thumbs up. All right. Also comment down in the comment section, say hi, so that we know that you're here, so that Fong could say hi as well. Right. Show some love to Fong, who is actually with us all the way from Canada. It's 6 a.m. right over there, and he's actually putting in the time and effort to be here with us. So show him some love, and also share this out so that more people can learn from his journey, on how to become a better entrepreneur who is going out there to impact the world. Because Fong just shared, right? You could come out from this pandemic either the same or worse, or you can do something and come out of it better, stronger, right? And like his clients, they came out of it becoming best-selling authors. So that's super amazing as well. So I have a question, right? I think it's very interesting when you mentioned that you were an engineer and you thought that you are going to be set for life, and that is how it's going to be for you. But you discovered that you wanted to do more. And you started to pick up a book. And I think for many of us, it's going to be that same book, that same purple color book by Robert Kiyosaki, right? Which that brings us onto this whole grand scale of things. And you went for seminars, you went for a lot of programs. And many people who may be watching this channel, they might be thinking that, a lot of these programs are scams, are things that doesn't work. It's just upsells, and things like this. So I'd like to ask you, right? What makes you wanted to go for all these different seminars, and what made you what's the end result, as in for yourself? What's the biggest takeaway by attending all these different programs and seminars and convention? What made you believe in it?
Well, at the very beginning, I was so with an engineering mindset, I was very left-brained. I was still calculating, okay, so they're charging how much for this course? And I was back calculating, okay, so that's how much money per hour, and then all that kind of stuff. And then as I was sitting there calculating how much that workshop's going to be, my girlfriend at the time, which is my now wife, stood up and said, I'm doing this with or without you. So I'm like, I guess I'm doing it. So then we signed up, and then the thing is, once we put in that investment and says, okay, we're gonna invest our money into this kind of education, we never looked back. We decided if we're doing this, we're gonna go on head on, and we're not gonna give up. As we kind of learn more and more, and also surround ourselves with more of these like-minded individuals, we start realizing, wow, this environment is so much more fun. This environment has so much more energy. People are positive. People are always going out and looking for opportunities. And it was a completely different lifestyle, different type of mood compared to the engineering mood. Engineering mood, you sit down, you do calculations, and you kind of just work for somebody else. So the whole concept of being able to create something for ourselves and have that be our main thing was very enticing. And then you kind of also start realizing that, hey, the world actually works in a very business-minded way. Everything that happens for a reason. Everything that happens is because of the economy. It's because of how business people think. And everything's kind of tied into that. So ever since we've kind of joined this kind of stuff, we started seeing, oh, so that's why this company does this. Oh, that's why the city decided to do that. And as you start realizing that more, it just got more fun, got more interesting, and it just kind of grew on me. And I went from real estate to doing business to writing books to speaking to keep coaching, and it all kind of came together.
Wow. So I'm actually hearing 2 things. I'm hearing number one is the environment, right? It's the environment that actually sparked the change. You feel that there was a real boost or difference in the environment. And the second one that you mentioned was about all the knowledge that you wouldn't have gotten if you had not attended all these seminars and convention. But my question is also, is it just these two things that affected the change in you, right? Because a lot of times there are many people who attend such convention and such seminars as well. There are people who immerse themselves in such environment as well, but they don't seem to be able to achieve the kind of results that you might have achieved. So what's the differentiating factor there?
I think the main thing is really it's doable. It's absolutely doable because you see other people being successful in this field. You see other people being successful, going through these seminars, going through these workshops, and coming out on top. So obviously, if they're successful at doing it, there is a way, there is a path. Sure enough, there's lots of people that eventually leave that type of lifestyle or leave that type of environment because it's not easy. It takes a long time. It takes a lot of persistence. It takes a lot of mindset to go, okay, as long as each step we take gets us closer to that first deal, each step we take gets us closer to that first speaking engagement, then you start feeling that momentum building. But it does take a long time before you get that kind of result and get that kind of feeling that, you know what, we're going on the right path. But the thing is, like I said before, once I make that decision, I go, you know what, I want to really follow this path. I want to have that kind of lifestyle, and let's just keep on going no matter how long it will take us.
Wow, guys, I think that's really golden there. I love that's why I love speaking to Fong, because I just thought that every single time I'm speaking to Fong, I just feel so motivated. Then he's just he just have this kind of mindset where, you know, just do it and just keep going. You will get there someday. Don't worry, we are behind you. Come on, let's do it. And I feel that maybe that is something that is very different. Even though we are both Asian, but we are brought up in very different cultures, right? I'm brought up in Asia, but you're brought up perhaps in the West. And I think there's some kind of differentiator where we are more like we use less the stick more than the carrot. Yeah, we use the stick more than the carrot, and you're like so kind and nice. And if someone were to be in my environment, if you can't do it, they'll be like, hey, why are you so bad at doing this? You better wake up your idea, you better do something. It's like that's the kind of attitude. But I think in your space, like, don't worry, you know, you can do it. Let's do it. Let's take one step further. That's your one step closer to go. And I just thought that potentially could be something that all of us could reflect upon. I don't think that's right or wrong, right? I'm not, because there are people who strive in my kind of environment, but I feel that sometimes it's very important for us to identify which is the way that can encourage the person to ultimately do. Like just like what Fong shared with us earlier. As long as the person is doing, I think that's the key.
Well, I think, yeah, like when you said that, it kind of depends on your personality. It kind of depends on your the way you're motivated. For myself, that mentality of getting one step closer every single time didn't really start until kind of midway through that process. In fact, the thing is that stick that you talked about, that was kind of how I was brought up at the very beginning. At the time where I got to, I think, high school or so, my parents didn't really focus too much on my studies. They just kind of assumed that I did well and kind of trusted I'll do well. So from a very early stage, I was already kind of focused on my own success and putting my efforts into my own success. And then when it comes to that motivation part, it was very difficult to be motivated and very difficult to keep on pushing when it's a very difficult road to go. But when you're surrounding yourself with other people, so during that time, we built up a lot of new relationships, met a lot of new friends who was also on this path. And therefore, we were able to support each other, give each other encouragement, work together, sometimes even partner up on certain deals so that we can actually grow together and push forward. And then with regards to the people that we used to hang out with, they may or may not have been as supported. So with those people, we just don't talk about what we were doing. We just go back and talk about what our normal lives were and what our relationship was like before, and then focus more on the business side of stuff when we're with the business side people.
I see. So I think so. What you're saying is that when you actually begin your journey, you realize that there's actually a huge change in your in your environment, in the groups of people that you're actually hanging out with. And how did that create a negative impact in your life? Did you feel that way? Because sometimes people will tend to say that, oh, why aren't you being friendly anymore? Why aren't you communicating with us anymore? Why are you like you're different? You have changed, Fong.
Yeah,
So
well,
did you experience that? So how do you deal with that?
that was exactly my scenario. So going from like 3-4 years of purely engineering and having that mindset of being an employee and all that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden getting into real estate and go, hey, I'm going to buy properties, I'm going to be doing business, I'm going to be doing this, I'm going to be doing that. And then I just couldn't wait to share that information. I couldn't wait to share that whole new world with all my family and friends. So during that initial stage, I was talking a lot. I'm like, hey, let's do this. I'm doing this and blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. To the point where some of my family members and some of my friends were starting to say, you're not the same Fong that we know. You've changed. You better be careful and all that kind of stuff. So at that moment, I kind of realized, okay, when I'm with family and friends, I need to kind of put on a different hat. I'm going to have to put back on the Fong that they know. And then when I'm out of that environment, I will put on another hat. And that is the new and growing Fong that I'm going to become, kind of thing. And then it was like that for a good year and a half, until the results started coming in, and I was starting to have more and more properties. I was starting to travel more and speaking on stages and all that kind of stuff. And that's when family and friends start asking, so what are exactly what you're doing, and share some of those stories. And that's when I was able to kind of share more about what I'm doing.
Ah, I see. So what happened was that you actually let your results speak for themselves. That's what I'm
Yep.
hearing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Ah, amazing, amazing. And I'd like to say hi to Wilson. That's my dad, actually. And I have one thing also on the show. And for the rest of you who are watching this right now, again, the same thing is this. Do drop us a like, say hi, let us know that you are here. And because we have an amazing guest who hears all the way from Canada today, he's actually up very, very early joining us from the comfort of his home, right, because of COVID. But he's literally waking up very early to join us tonight. So please show him some love. All right, share this video out. Fong, so thank you for sharing all the wonderful things that you have been saying earlier. I think there's a lot of things that people could really take it and learn a lot already. Like, sometimes we tend to be very loud and outspoken with the things that we want to do. And I think it's very common that we just want to go out and share. But I think based on your experience or what we have learned is that, sometimes you just have to put on a different hat and let your results speak for themselves. And that is when people notice the results, that's when they will come and find out more. And I wanted to bring the conversation back a little bit earlier, because when you were introducing yourself, you mentioned that you were an engineer and you went for seminars, and then you bought properties from 0 properties to 12 properties, now over 20 properties. So guys, for those of us who are here in Singapore, I know that we are like, what? 20 properties is out of this world. So later I'm going to ask Fong perhaps to share a little bit more on how maybe you could join him on his property journey. What are his thoughts, in maybe foreigners getting on board in the property journey as well. So I'm going to ask something like that as well. So for those of you who want to hear that, continue watching this show. But I wanted to ask something very interesting. You said that when you after attending all the seminar and courses, and when you really wanted to get into this, that's when you decided to find a coach, right? So my question is this: why did you decide to find a coach, and how has it helped you to bring you to where you are today?
Well, finding that coach it actually started very early in our journey. So going through the initial first few programs that we went to, you learn about the technical aspects of buying real estate. They show you how to do the numbers. They show you how to find the properties, how to calculate your cash flow and all that kind of stuff. And as engineers, we were very good at that part. We understood how to analyze that deal, and we were able to analyze those deals to death. Like we just went over and over again to make sure that we had the right deal before we put out the offer. So for our very first deal, and I remember it very clearly, we put out an offer, and it was, I think, listed for $140,000 Canadian for a condo unit. and our offer was like 90 grand. So right off the bat, you knew that if it was accepted, it would be a good deal for sure. It was $50,000 off and all that kind of stuff. But because that was our very first offer, we were actually scared that it was going to get accepted. The whole night I was sweating bullets. The whole night I couldn't sleep. I'm like, what if they actually take this offer? I don't know what to do next. I don't know where am I going to go get money, where I'm going to find money and all that kind of stuff. Even though I knew for a fact it was a great deal. And at that point, in the end, they never did take up the offer. They actually didn't even reply to us. So, which kind of shows we really came down too low. But after that experience, we realized we were missing something. We were missing that person who was able to guide us, to give us that soundboard, so we knew that we were going on the right path. My family does not do business. They do not do real estate. So they didn't have that knowledge for me to go to. Hence, I wasn't surrounding myself with the people that had that knowledge anyways either. So we were missing that person. We were missing that coach. And when we went to this other seminar and workshop, and it was told to us that having that coach by our side was something that was very important. And therefore, we hired a coach who also helped us from the business perspective of things too. So doing real estate, not only do you have to know the real estate side of things, you would have to know how do you actually conduct business? How do you go and negotiate? How do you build relationships? And then kind of have that foresight as to what's going to happen if a deal goes through, if a deal doesn't go through, if you have to evict tenants, if you have to find tenants. Having that coach being there every step of the way allowed me to have that peace of mind, allowed me to have that calmness, knowing that somebody's been there, done that, and has been able to challenge me to do more and more things. So it was a big turning point in my life, having that coach guide us along.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that because you needed the additional knowledge that you didn't have, and that's why you wanted to find a coach. But why? I guess many people who may be watching this later, they might have the question. So while I can learn this from reading books, I can learn this from people love to say this today. I can learn all this stuff by watching YouTube videos, right? Why do I need to get a coach? So if anyone actually comes to you and say that, what would your reply be?
So why aren't you doing it? So the thing is, if that person said that they could access all this information for free online and in the library, whatever it is, they could read, that's true. My next question would be, so how come you're not doing it? You know where to find the information. You know that it's accessible. There isn't any information in the world that you can't access right now for free if you chose to. Why not reach out and ask those people? Why not reach out and find that book and read it? The point is, you need to take that information and then apply it. I've had many sessions with people where they come and ask me, so how do I write this book? How do I do real estate? How do I do this? How do I do that? And I would sit down and I go very detailed. I'm like, this is exactly how you do it. This is how you write the book, step by step and every step of the way. Well, after that conversation, I may or may not have seen them for maybe a few months. And then after a few months, they come back to me and go, so how do I write a book? I'm like, wait a minute, what are you talking? He goes, well, I don't know how. I'm like, yes, you do. We talked about this 2 months ago. I laid it all out for you. Did you do anything? He goes, no. I'm like, that's the difference. You can find the information anywhere you want. You can actually seek out the information from other people who's willing to share it whenever and wherever you want. The problem is you're not taking that information and actually applying it. And the reason why you're not applying it is you're not committed to that information, right? So going all the way back to my story of how I got into real estate, the truth is we put in a big amount of investment in that education for us to learn. And once I put in that investment, I go, you know what? I can't turn back. I already put the money in. I'm not going to waste it. It's like, it's equivalent to somebody putting in $50,000, $60,000 for what, 4 or 5 years of university, and then decide to go, you know what, I'm not going to learn anything. I'm just going to sit in class and maybe skip class and not even go to class, but I'm going to pay that money to have the access to that class. Well, if you're not going to go to class, that's a waste of money. And if you're not going to go to class, you're not going to apply it. So same thing. Like if you don't have the monetary commitment, if you don't have that fear of loss, or that motivation to succeed, then you're not going to commit to that information and you're not going to take action. So the big difference is, do you have somebody to hold you accountable? And the coach is that main thing that holds you accountable every step of the way. Whereas the people who goes, hey, I could read a book. Yeah, but nobody's forcing you to read. Nobody's forcing you to go, hey, you have to finish these 3 chapters by next week and then report it to me and tell me what did you learn.
I see. So in your opinion, the biggest difference in what you have seen before or in your own experience is that having a coach is really about having, apart from the fact that the coach have the knowledge, have the experience to be able to guide you and hold your hand through the journey, but the key difference is that there is someone now you are being held accountable to, and
Yep.
that will force you in a certain sense to take action. And when action happens, that's when the results will come in, and that's what I'm hearing right now.
Yeah, so it's the accountability part, and also the person who has that knowledge and the foresight to challenge you, to kind of help you along for things that may or may not come, being able to assess your risk a little bit better. And also because a coach is somebody you hire, you have that monetary commitment to actually want to succeed, or else you're wasting your investment.
I see. Okay, cool, guys. I mean, that's really very interesting, because a lot of time I believe people around me, they might have heard that, oh, I'm getting a coach, and people say, why should I need to invest this amount of money to get someone who is just there to talk to me, to have someone who is just there to nag at me. But I guess we know the reason why we really need that person to nag at you right now, because if you don't have that motivation, and let's face it, right, you and me right here, I'm not talking about Fong, obviously, right? You and me, you on the other side of the screen, guys, right, and me, right, we probably lack the motivation, we probably lack the discipline to do a lot of the things that we need to do in order to reach a certain results that we want. And that's when I think a coach should come in to really help push us towards that level, right? To change the way we function, to change the way we respond to a certain event, to change the way we think about how we should go about doing and reaching that peak level of success that we want. And I see Fong actually has a show called Peak Potential Success as well. So guys, if you really want to be connected with Fong, go over to his website right now, right? www.fongchua.com. And like Fong has mentioned, he has a YouTube channel, he has a podcast. Go and subscribe to everything that he has, okay? It's mostly free and you're gonna love it. Okay. So Fong, I mean, I just wanted to ask another question. I think because when someone wants to start a business, it's so easy for us to do so many things. You can start an F&B business, you can start a retail, you can start internet business like I do, you can start property, you can do trading or investing and things like this. I wanted to understand what went through your mind then, and why did you choose property as your main business when you were starting out?
Well, at the very beginning, I didn't have much experience in real estate. I didn't have much experience in business as a whole. But one thing I did know was that real estate was always something that was something that people invested in, was something that eventually wealth gets generated into, whether it's the property, the land, and an investment and whatnot. It's usually real estate. If you have a business, you build a lot of cash, you build a lot of revenue, and that money eventually goes into some type of real estate or some kind of brick and mortar and whatnot. So real estate was something that I kind of understood made sense, and that it was something that was tried, tested, and true over lifetimes. So it's just I kind of fell into real estate at the beginning. After that, it was more learning more about how businesses work, learning more about how business and branding and marketing work, and then applying that to the real estate business, and then slowly applying that to my coaching business, where I'm focusing most of my energy now. The real estate side, I still do when things come in, when a good deal comes across my table, I'll look into it, I'll invest into it if it works right. Otherwise, I'm spending a lot more time finding the deals, working with other people, coaching them, and helping them succeed.
Wow. Okay. So right now your focus has shifted a little bit. You're focusing more on the business coaching and stuff like that. And you only do this when a good deal come around. So you're actually very, very good at multiple businesses. So I'm going to come into that in a moment. But I'm just curious, right? Because as a foreigner, as someone who is based in Singapore, where property prices are pretty high. Definitely not the highest in the world, but pretty high. So having a property dream in Singapore is like, it's our dream to finally own a property. But you're like telling us you own 12, you own 20, so it's amazing. And I just like to ask, I'm not sure if this will be applicable, right? I'm not sure if you have coached anyone about this, but I'd like to ask, if a foreigner like myself would like to invest in Canadian property, is that actually possible? And if it is, how should we go about doing it?
I think it's absolutely possible. I know people who have investments all over the world. So it's just a matter of having the right people in place, having the right teams in place, having the right partners in place. So for instance, if you were to invest in Canada, I would highly suggest that you have a contact, somebody that you know, that you trust, that you are able to work together with on investment properties overseas in Canada, and kind of build up that rapport, build up that relationship, and then build up your investments that way.
I see. Okay, so I guess right now, guys, Fong does it, and his website is just hanging out over there on the screen. So get connected to Fong, okay? www.fongchua.com. Get connected with him, add him on Facebook. He's an amazing, amazing guy. So I'm gonna go into that later as well about relationships and things like this. There's so much we could learn from this gentleman right here about building lasting relationships, and that's something I'm going to dig deeper in a while. But I think the next interesting thing is that, Fong, you have started so many different businesses. You have the real estate business, you have the coaching business, you have the book writing, and many others. So for someone who has so much experience in starting businesses, is there a framework or is there a strategy that you could share with my audience right now who are watching this, or either on the replay later, on how they could start a business? Is there a strategy? Is there something that you go about using?
My first thing is I discuss it with my coaches. I go, okay, is this a viable business? Is this a viable plan to put into place before I actually take action on it? I focus most of my thing on myself. Like I build up my personal brand so that it's me that most people are dealing with, whether it's coaching, whether it's real estate, whether it's a money lending, network marketing, whatever it is, it's still my brand, me, that people are associated with and building that relationship with. So with that, I can apply myself into different types of industries, different types of businesses, and still be successful in those. But at the same time, I'm building a different brand for each one of those, so that eventually when the time comes, and then if I wanted to, I could always sell those businesses when it comes. So the thing is, when it comes to starting up your business, I think the very first thing you need to consider is this something that you truly want to do, and it's something that you want to do for the long term? And then also, is it a viable business? Is it something that other people are actually successful in, and something that you would like to put in the time and effort in building and learning? And then the third thing is then surrounding yourself with those people who are actually successful in it, whether it's a coach, whether it's other people who's doing it, and then kind of pick their brains, learn from them, and then find out, okay, what it is that they do step by step, so that you can follow the same footsteps, or avoid the problems, or avoid the issues that they had to go through, so that you don't have to go through that same thing.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is the first thing, check with your coaches, right? So that's why a coach is really important, guys. Check with your coaches. And the second thing is that you want to find out whether it's a viable business. And the third thing is that surround yourself with people who are already in the business. But I'd like to bring up the point number 2. What's your criteria to determine whether if something is a viable business or not? Because we always hear people saying that nowadays, when you want to do a business, there are some people who are very adamant about, oh, if you want to do a business, you got to be you need to have a USP, it's be unique, you got to be something new, you got to be first, you got to be this, you got to be that. So in your opinion, what is considered a viable business?
Are you solving a problem? And that's the main thing. If you're not solving a problem if you're not solving a problem that lots of people have, then it's not a very viable business. I think the joke at the time during lots of seminars was that, well, this person was able to knit sweaters for squirrels. So does that actually solve a problem? Not particularly. Maybe if somebody was maybe somebody has a pet squirrel, but you might only have one person in that market, kind of thing, right? So if you know there's a general big problem that you want to solve, and you're good at solving that problem, then it's a viable business. Then it comes down to how do you differentiate yourself from all the other people who are solving the same problem. And if you're able to do that and get yourself out there and be able to stick out and have that uniqueness to you, people are gravitating to you, people know who you are and want to work with you, then that business and that problem that you're solving will be something that they are focused more on and want to come to you for it instead of somebody else. So the second thing is you have to build that brand for yourself. You have to build that recognition, that credibility, that exposure, and then just talk about it a little bit more, and then creating that environment so that people want to work with you.
Well, guys, if you guys are not taking notes, you have to start taking notes right now, because everything that Fong is actually sharing with us are very, very important and key elements that he actually does only share with his private clients, that he shares with his coaches. So once again, thank you on behalf of anyone who's going to be watching this or is watching this right now. I want to thank you for sharing so much knowledge with us. And every one of you, if you're enjoying what you're listening right now, please drop us a love and like, comment down in the comment section, and also do share this video out. And by the way, if you do have any questions that you would like to ask Fong, this will be a great time to type into the comment section so that Fong and myself, we could interact with you and we could answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so guys, do that right now. Just type in the comment section. And what I hear from you earlier is that, we have problem, we have demand. We must first identify the problem. Are we solving a problem? And even if we are solving a problem, does that problem have a demand to it? Because like you said, right, if you're solving a problem for the squirrel, there's no real demand in the world. That's not going to be a viable business. So solve a problem, figure out if there's demand, and then we talk about USP and branding. And I want to ask on behalf of everyone who is watching this right now, because like yourself, I believe that we are huge proponents of personal branding, right? We believe in branding ourselves and then associating our business with it. And this is something that we learn from our coaches, right? We have common coaches that we learn from as well. We have our own individual coaches that we learn from. And this is something that has been being debated quite a little bit today. So I'd like to ask you this question. If you're talking about personal branding and you're associating yourself with so many different businesses, some other people will say that, isn't that diluting your branding? Isn't that making people confused with what you are standing for? How do you address that?
Well, I think that it's what a lot of very successful people do. For instance, Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson. All of them have a very strong personal brand, but then they also have very strong brands and different businesses too. But it's still them that you associate those brands to. So the thing is, when you are able to build that personal brand strong, and you're able to build that exposure strong, then you're able to associate that brand with other brands and give all those other brands more credibility. You get to give all those other businesses that you're building more credibility. One example that I usually give to people is that if, for instance, Elon Musk comes into your town and opens up a burger shop, I'm pretty sure that burger shop's going to do very well, because people, even though if he has nothing to do with burgers, just the fact that he's associated with it, people want to gravitate to that. So I don't think that there's going to be a dilution. I think more that it actually helps other businesses when you're able to bring in that strong personal brand into those businesses, because it's still you. It's your integrity. It's your ethics. It's your message. It's your characteristic that then gets implied into those businesses that you create.
I see. And I definitely agree a lot with what Fong is actually sharing here, and that is why we always talk about doing more on personal branding, because that brand is you, and you can bring that brand and leverage it on a lot of other brands that you might create in the future. Like his example of Elon Musk with a burger shop, right? I think Elon Musk has done it multiple times with the Boring Company, selling caps and selling stuff that I believe most of us would normally not buy, but because of his strong personal branding, the sales skyrocketed. And if you could do that, that'd be amazing. But I think some of the people who are watching this round then will ask the other question. Okay, so now you guys are establishing it, right? You guys are telling me that, okay, personal branding is good, is something that you guys recommend. But how then do I actually build a strong personal brand? What would be your advice? How could we do that?
I usually tell my clients that the very first thing that you should do is list out 10 characteristics, 10 words that you want to be associated with. So for instance, if you said for yourself, you're in digital courses and social media and all that kind of stuff, then social media is going to be one of those terms, one of those words that's going to be on your list. You want people to think Gavin first when they hear the word social media. So if you're in real estate and I'm in real estate, I want people to think Fong first once they think about real estate. So list out those 10 things that you want people to think about you first, and then build out that brand on those 10 things. And it has to be either what you want to be known for or characteristics, for instance, like professionalism, value, or ethics, or you're somebody who is always on time. That the more positive words that you could come up with, the more powerful words that you could come up with, the more specific words to your business that you could come up with is what you want those people to think about when they think of you, or vice versa. And then everything else that you do, whether it's posting on social media, whether it's going out and talking to clients, going out there and doing speaking engagements, going out there and just meeting random people, you want to make sure that you are still embodying those words in your conversations, in your interactions with people, so that people think about you first every time they think about those items. And are you building it that way? So for instance, if you're going online and all of a sudden you post stuff about food, or you post stuff about vacations, and that has nothing to do with those words that you have on your list, then that's incongruent with the brand that you want to build. And as you do that slowly but surely, you're going to build up that whole mindset that people will think of you first once they see those items.
I see. Okay, so guys, I think this is a very specific strategy that any one of us can actually use and implement right now to actually build a strong personal brand. So what I'm hearing is that just find 10 words, and if you could find a very strong, very positive words that you want to associate yourself and your brand with, and then be consistent about what you're posting out and putting it out there, and always associate yourself with these 10 words, right, that you want to associate with yourself and your brand. And that is how you're going to be able to build a strong personal brand. So that's very, very, very good strategy, and very implementable strategies that you guys can use right now. So if you guys love it, I just want you guys to just type down 10 words, right? Type 10 words in the comment. And also, again, guys, if you have any, just write the comment 10 words so that I know that you guys are listening to it. And also, if you guys have any questions that you all would like to ask Fong, please also type in the comment section. Let us know so that Fong can address the questions directly with you guys. Okay, so Fong, thank you very much for sharing everything for the last 45 minutes. It has been an amazing session, and I feel that we are able to really learn quite a fair bit from the things that you're sharing. But one of the things I want to thank Ming Rong for tapping, right? 10 words right there. So be like Ming Rong, okay? Type the words down, everyone that is watching this. One of the most amazing thing that I have learned from you when I first met you was about humility, and it's about friendship, and it's about relationship, because I can never forget how we met, and how we were just having a conversation, and obviously you were so kind, and Jessica being a Fong's wife, and they just offered to bring me along to Disneyland, right? It just happened that the area where we were actually having the meetup was next to Disneyland, and Fong and Jessica, they are huge fan of Disney, and they actually offered to bring a stranger, right? We were just speaking for 10-15 minutes max, and they said, hey, Gavin, where are you heading next? I said, oh, maybe I'll go to Disneyland. And they said, why don't we go together? We are going, we'll show you around. And I was so shocked, that someone of his status, of his level, was actually offering to bring me to go to Disneyland. And from there, we maintained very good relationships, and they were just so friendly. But I realized that over the 3 days, whenever I see Fong and Jessica, they were always out there, and they were interacting with other people who were at the conference, and everyone that they were talking to, they were just so friendly. They were just able to strike up a conversation so fast, and it's amazing, right? We built up the relationship so well. And when I came back to Singapore, right, Fong actually sent me a card, right? A card or a picture of what we had taken, and was with with a very cute design of Fong and Jessica, a cartoon version of themselves. So it was super touching. It was super intimate, and I just love it. So I just wanted to ask Fong is this, right? How important has relationship building been for your business? And if it has been very important, how do you go about maintaining and actually making sure that the relationship is good for business?
Well, relationships are absolutely vital in anything that you do, and more specifically in business, because if you want to be able to grow, you can't grow by yourself. Because as we said before, if you want to expand your business and you want to be successful in it, well, you either need clients or you need partners. And if you don't build relationships and you don't have either, then you're just basically sitting there on your own building a business that nobody knows about. So your relationships are absolutely important, and being able to build relationships, long-term relationships, and also strategic relationships is something that we always kind of think about and keep in the back of our minds. One of the things that we always think about is how do we add value to this person, and how do we keep that going for a long time so that eventually we can either do something together, or if worst case scenario, we become good friends. I'm not always looking to do business. I'm not always looking to have a partner. I'm not always looking to make a sale. But if we could have a good relationship going, you never know where that's going to go. Every year, you talk about that Christmas card. Every year, I handwrite about 300 cards, 300 to 400 cards every year. And the thing is, it's either to friends and families that I've been connecting with all these years, but then also people who I want to build relationships with, people who I've met along the way, people who has helped me along to get to where I am. That's my opportunity to just say, thank you very much for helping me out. Thank you very much for giving me this tip or adding that value to me. And just by simply doing that, separates you a little bit differently than everybody else, because most people don't write cards anymore. So the fact that they still get a card in their mail already separates you from other people. And therefore, and when we go and do all these conferences and all that kind of stuff, I take pictures. And right now in this day and age, hey, you want a photo? I'll send it to you. But you don't get that physical copy. So I also print those out and I send that to them too, just so that, hey, I still remember you. Thank you very much. Write something a nice message on the back. And chances are they're not going to throw that photo away. They might put it away somewhere, but they're not going to forget it. It's still going to be there. It might even sit on their desk for a few days before they put it away. So the thing is, building that relationship also means that how do you get your face out there so that they still see you and still remember you and all that kind of stuff. But one story that came from all those, a couple stories that came from writing those cards was that I actually wrote a card to this one person for a good 4 or 5 years. Every single year, consistently wrote to them 4 or 5 years. And then by the 5th year, I actually got a response on email. And he goes, oh, I just got this card email. We should connect. And once we connected, after 2 or 3 conversations, I ended up buying a condo unit from him with no money down.
Wow.
Right? So you never know where that relationship is going to go. All those cards that I've been writing has also built the relationship to the point where, hey, I could ask certain people to be on my podcast. And they remember me through all those cards and through all those interactions, and they go, yeah, sure, I'll be on your podcast. And these are people that I may or may not be able to reach if I haven't built that relationship over the year. So the thing is, when you're building relationships, you think long term. With you, we hit it off right off the bat. Like, you came over, we started chatting, you had a really good demeanor, your character was very good, and we had a lot of fun just talking. And because Jessica and I, we've been to Disney a lot. Every single time we go to this event, we go, you know what, it's time to share the fun with other people, and you seem like a very good guy to share it with. So like, hey, let's go together and let's have some fun. And like I said, you never know where that relationship is going to go. And who knows, if I didn't take you to Disney that day, I may not be sitting here sharing these stories with you on this podcast and having you invite me on this podcast. So that was a relationship for 4 years in the making, 3 years in the making. So
yeah, I mean, I absolutely love it, and I guess it just reflects again like what an amazing character Fong is right now. So guys, I think we did share a little bit of story here and there, but there was a lot of golden nuggets amidst the story that we are sharing. And if you love it, that whatever we are talking about right now, just type Disney in the comment. Okay, type Disney in the comment and let us know that you love it, because this truly brings back amazing memories that I have with both Fong and Jessica. And I think one of the key points that Fong brought up earlier was that when you are out there looking to build a relationship, yes, I mean a lot of time now even down below you can see I put it down as relationships are essential for business, but like what Fong mentioned, it doesn't necessarily have to end up with business, right? You really go out there and your intention is to build a good friendship, right, with that person, and you never know where that will bring you to, right? And Fong and myself, to be honest, we have not done anything really business related in that sense, but we have invited each other on each other's shows. We have maintained the friendship over the years. We chat every now and then, and I think there's this catchphrase that we say all the time in business, right? People don't remember what you're selling them, but they remember how you make them feel, right? They don't remember what you sold them or what you're selling them, but they remember how you make them feel, right? And I will tell you right now, if ever 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, and anyone mentioned Fong and Jessica to me, I will only remember how warm they were, how friendly they were, how nice they were to me. And ever if they needed anything, I would definitely be there for them because of how they made me feel, right? And over the few years that we have been interacting with each other. So I guess that is a great lesson that I really love. And I feel that it's very important that we need to learn from this amazing gentleman right here, Fong. So if you guys love that, remember just type Disney, right? Type Disney in the chat. Doesn't matter if you're watching it now or on the replay, just type Disney and let us know. Okay. And since you're on the topic of Disney, right? I just always wanted to ask this question. It just came to my mind. And whenever, for those of you who are not aware, whenever you are on Fong's show, so Fong has this show called My Bikes, right? And that's also on the screen that you can see over there on My Bikes. And he always asks, he has this game at the end of his show where he asks people to pick a card and to say, right, what if business or something, how can you relate it to it? So Fong, since you're on the topic of Disney and you love Disney, right? If I were to make you say the best character in Disney for us to learn in terms of business, because ultimately this is a business show, so for entrepreneurs. So if there is something, a Disney character that we could learn from, right, for business and entrepreneurship, which Disney character would that be and why?
Wow, that's a very good question. I actually never thought about which Disney character I would associate you said success to be, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna cheat a little, and how I'm gonna cheat would be, I think if somebody was to take the character of Mickey Mouse and understand fully how Mickey Mouse was created and how Mickey Mouse was presented and then actually placed as a iconic figure in the whole Disney world, and world being the whole universe of Disney, and how it was being utilized and how it's being used as a brand, as a logo and all that kind of stuff, then if you take that same concept and apply it to your own business, then you will be successful. You will be able to build that brand recognition because you're applying something that a great company, not like Disney, is using into your own company. And using the figure of Mickey is a good example as to why they're so successful. You can't go anywhere without seeing it. In fact, you've been to Disney, there's no place that you can go to without seeing those three circles somewhere. In your hotel, in the lobby, in your washroom, in your bedroom, everywhere you see those three iconic circles, and you think Mickey right away. And the real reason for that is once you go home, and even though it's not purposely done so that there's three circles there, but when you see three circles, you go, I think Mickey. And then when you think Mickey, you think Disney. So I would cheat and say the most iconic figure that you can use in the Disney whole universe is Mickey. And when you understand how that came about, how they use Mickey, that will be the epitome of success and how you can build your business.
Okay, I'm gonna let you off the hook this time around for using Mickey as an example here, not as a character in terms of Mickey being how he's related to success, but how the company how Disney actually used Mickey as an iconic figure to build their success upon this very iconic figure and shape. And I think for many of us, that's really like, I think I have to agree with what Fong is saying here. There's so many things that we can learn in terms of marketing, in terms of branding, in terms of business scaling and building, just by looking at how Disney is actually conducting their business. And if you guys have been watching the interview for the last hour or so, you will realize that many of the times that Fong and I, we were just chatting, we always take reference to people who have already been there, done that, or companies that are already successful, right? And sometimes I do feel that, in order for us to be successful, all we have to do is to follow what successful people are doing. I'm not sure what's your take on that, Fong. Do you agree with that statement?
Totally agree. The thing is, I usually tell my clients, if they want to build a good, strong, let's say, social media brand, just simply go and search up Coca-Cola. See how they build their Facebook page. See how they build up their Instagram. And if they're posting a picture with a question, then you post a picture with a question. Follow the step by step. If you could do that, then you're going to build a very strong social media presence. When it comes to business, study how Disney runs their business. Study how Starbucks runs their business, and then take the stuff that has the most impact and take that and apply it to your own business. For instance, I personally really like watching comic book shows and comic book movies and all that kind of stuff. Does from at where you are, do you have the show Flash?
Flash, yes, I believe we can have it on Netflix. So yes.
Oh yeah, it's on Netflix. So I'm not sure if you watched that show, but it's been, I think, past its 6th season already, and it's been very successful. There's lots of people say it's a very good show and all kind of stuff, and I personally have been watching it for a while now. So then I asked the question, why is it so successful? How come it's done so well? How come people still watch it? So because I have an interest in that, I start researching and listening to behind the scenes interviews and listening to what the directors say and all that kind of stuff. And it turns out they have a formula for every single episode. And that is the 3 H's. Each episode must have heroics, humor, and also heart. So if it doesn't have something that's spectacular, something exciting, or if it doesn't have something that's funny that would get you to kind of relax and laugh, and if it doesn't have something that would tug on your emotional heartstrings, they're not gonna air that episode. So if that works for an episode for a show that's successful, why not take that concept and take that system and apply it to your presentations? Apply it to your speaking and your speeches when you go up on stage. Make sure that there's something that's funny. Make sure that there's something that's kind of exciting for people to listen to, and make sure there's something that pulls on their emotional heartstrings. So just by simply learning from successful people, learning from successful industries or products or whatever the TV shows, movie shows, you could take that stuff and put it into your own business in some way that allows you to be able to be successful as well.
Wow, I mean, I love that. I mean, the last 3 minutes of that was just pure gold. I mean, this is amazing strategy. It's like the 3 H's, right? So for guys who are actually watching this right now, there's heroics, humor, and heart, right? And you are able to incorporate this into anything that you do, your presentations. And this is not just something that we say for the fun of it. Like Fong has actually said that this is something that Hollywood producers uses it in their shows. So if you can incorporate it into our presentations, into our speech, right? Can you imagine the quality of your presentation and speech? It's going to go skyrocketing, right? So this is an actual strategy. Again, very practical strategy that Fong has shared with everybody, and I absolutely love it. So for those of you who are watching this, if you guys are watching it live right now, I want you all to type 3H, right? 3H in the comment section. Let us know that this has benefited you. And also, if you have any questions, this is really your last chance to ask Fong any questions, because we have been on for about an hour right now. I do not want to really take too much time away from Fong, because he woke up very early, 5 a.m. to prepare and just on this show at 6 a.m. his time. And right now it's going to be 7 a.m. and he has to go and take care of his children right now. He's feeding baby, so I don't want to make him too tired. So we're going to be ending the show in a while. So again, guys, if you have any questions, just type in the comment section and let us know. And we have Glenda typing 3H down there. So I'm glad you found that useful, Glenda. That's amazing. Okay. So while we wait for the questions to come, if there's actually any, I would like to ask you another question right now. So earlier we actually used a Disney character, right? But my show is more focused on people who are aspiring entrepreneurs or people who are looking to start a business, to do a business, right? And I know that you have so many wonderful strategies like the 3H, like building good relationships, running the 10 brands and all kind of stuff. You have so many good stuff. But if I were to be very, very selective and you have only one thing to say, which means you can only give one advice to this aspiring entrepreneur, right? Nothing more, just one piece of advice. What would that advice be for?
I would say you have to make a decision. Once you make the decision to pursue whatever it is that you want to do, then you have to make that decision. And then I'm going to go and add to that and say, with that decision, find the people and surround yourself with those people so that you can then ask them questions and follow in their footsteps. That's the only way that you're able to succeed and only way where you can grow, because it's being able to bounce ideas off of people, being able to have that soundboard, that support system, that encouragement from other people to push you along, to guide you along, to even challenge you. That's how we all grow. If you think back to all the stuff that you're successful in, whether it's in sports, whether it's in music or in academics, somebody has helped you, whether it's your teacher to guide you along, whether it's your coach that guides you along. Somebody was involved with your success. Somebody was there who knew the steps, who knew the trials and tribulations, who's been there, who's done that. And then also your classmates, even your competitors. Those are the people that are there, that pushes you, that encourages you, that kind of gives you that extra motivation to want to succeed. So decision, and then surround yourself with the people that you want to either grow with or become.
Wow, amazing. So that's the one piece of advice. Make a decision. And I wouldn't say it's just about doing, it's about finding the right environment, the right company to really bring you to where you want to be. So for that has been an amazing sharing. And I believe that for some of those people who are watching this show, either right now or perhaps on the replay or on YouTube, they may want to be connected with you. So obviously you have your Facebook page, your website over there. That says www.fongchua.com. Is there also another way that you would like them to be connected with you, perhaps through Facebook or anything, or is the website the best option for now?
Yeah, you can go to my Facebook. I believe I'm the only Fong Chua on Facebook, but you can't miss me if you type in Fong Chua. And then also on YouTube, I have a YouTube channel. It's Your Area TV. So all my videos are on there. My podcast videos, I have almost like a video a day that comes up on YouTube. And then also my podcast, which is the Peak Potential Success Show. So you can follow me on that as well.
Okay, so I got your Facebook link right here. So I'm going to be posting it right now. So guys, if you'd like to be connected with Fong, please, highly recommend it. Please get connected to Fong over here, right? www.facebook.com/fong.chua.7, or like he said, just search for Fong Chua on Facebook and you should be able to get him. He's the one of the most handsome Fong Chuas out there, so you're not going to miss him. Okay, just search for Fong Chua, the most handsome guy is going to be him. And Glenda say, Fong always bring value to relationship. And yes, I absolutely agree with that, Glenda. I think we are definitely on the right page. It's just so amazing how Fongs can be writing 300 Christmas cards every single year. Oh my God, I think my hand's going to break if I have to do that. So, but I guess...
I just want to say hi, Glenda. Thanks for tuning in.
Glenda said, great show. Thank you very much, Glenda. I'm glad that you enjoyed the show. And okay, guys, please be connected with Fong over here. I really feel that Fong is someone that I highly recommend anyone that is watching this show right now or later on the replay. I know many of you actually watch the replay. So please, do yourself this favor. Get connected with Fong. Speak to him. Learn what you can from this amazing gentleman, because he really has so much more that he could share with anybody. And unfortunately, we have limited time on the show. So that's about all that we have. So next Wednesday, we're going to have another amazing guest on the show. I'm going to be selling a little bit of koyok. Koyok is our local term here, right here. So I'm going to be hiding a little bit. I'm going to be teasing you a little bit. I'm not going to tell you who is going to be next Wednesday, but next Wednesday at 8 p.m., you are going to be learning a very, very important skill set for you to be able to scale your business. So if you are already in business right now, next Wednesday is going to be a show that you do not want to miss. So set it in your calendar, 8 o'clock, 8 p.m. Singapore time. You're not going to want to miss it. Okay, for those of you who have yet to follow me on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, feel free to add me right now. You are able to add me. That's at over here at the handle that I have at Hey Gavin Sim. Add me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, anywhere. Just make sure that you follow me so you get updated with all the latest information. And also Fong as well. Again, this is one of the most amazing gentlemen that I ever know in my life, and I really miss hanging out with him. So hopefully COVID is going to be over and we can fly somewhere. Either if you ever come visit Singapore, let me know. I'll be happy to host you. And if I ever go up to Americas again, I'm definitely going to hit him up. And Fong, so I just want to make a little bit of exception because I think you really have so much things that you would like to be able to say, right? So before I end the show proper, right, is there anything else that you would like to just say? Oh, Gavin, I really wanted to say this, but I didn't have a chance to. Is there anything like that you would like to say?
Well, one thing that kind of came to mind was we were talking about building relationships and whatnot, and I understand there's a lot of people, especially for Asians, we're usually brought up to be very quiet and very shy and not willing to go out and kind of break the ice and meet people and talk and all that kind of stuff. And I'm the first to admit, I was not the person that likes networking very much. I was usually the person in the back of the room, just kind of sitting there by myself and kind of minding my own business kind of thing. And the thing is, to build relationships, if you are a shy person, it's really also not that hard. The main thing is being able to ask good questions and really just listen. When you ask one question, just let that other person talk and let them talk, and you just sit there and go, ooh, interesting. And then just let them keep on going. After a good while, you may have maybe asked 2-3 questions, and the whole thing lasted a good 45 minutes, and the person goes, wow, that was a great conversation. So being shy is not a detriment. In fact, it allows you to become a very good listener. And then after that, you start building your confidence, ask more questions, and then you can kind of find out more about what that person is and what their interests are. And then you can add value to that. Actually, I'm going to add one more thing to that, and that is being able to expand your knowledge in a lot of different types of things. It doesn't have to be just real estate. It doesn't have to be just social media, or it doesn't have to be just you're an expert in engineering or whatever like that. You want to expand your knowledge in a whole world of stuff, whether it's music industry or even like farming bees. Finding a way to absorb all that information and listening to podcasts, listening to different types of experts and entrepreneurs. And my tip for that is to jack up the time, the speed at which you listen to stuff to like 2 times, 3 times the speed, so you can get more and more information in. The more information you get into your mind, the faster you think. The faster you think, and the more information you have, the more you can build relationships with. The more you're able to add value to, the more questions you can ask the people that you're meeting, and you're able to relate to them more. So if you're shy, listen to lots of stuff, ask good questions, and then add value back.
Wow, amazing, guys. I wanted to say, ask you for the last word, but I believe that was definitely one of the most amazing last words that we could have. I was just going to ask that question anyway, but I just thought that this is something very interesting that many of us should really apply. You just ask question and listen. You don't need to be, you just need to ask a question to get the conversation started. And like you said, like Fong said earlier, amazingly, this is something that has been tested and proven. You just ask a question and you let the other party talk. At the end of it, they'll tell you, oh my God, it's been such a great conversation, right? I love talking to you. And you're like, oh, I only asked one question. I didn't even say anything else. And you think it's great. Okay, cool. And you build a great relationship from there. That's amazing, guys. So absolutely love it. Again, if you guys want to be connected with Fong, please connect with him on his social media accounts. I already dropped the link earlier. If not, go to his website, fongchua.com. You'll be able to connect with him as well. Please go and listen to his podcast and his YouTube channels. There's like tons of video. I do not know how Fong is actually doing it, but he has so so much content that is pumping out every single time, and each one of them is you're gonna be able to learn so much from them. Okay, so guys, I don't see any questions that are coming in right now, so I'd like to thank everyone who is tuning in, who has tuned in, or who's going to be watching the replay. I love having you guys here. It's been a pleasure. I'm going to let Fong go very shortly so that he can get his well-deserved rest. I'm not sure he's going to be able to get it as well because he's probably going to look after his baby right now. So thank you very much, Fong. Any last words before we end the show?
No, just thank you very much for having me. It's great seeing you again. You made this morning worth it, so thank you very much for getting me up and starting my day on a good foot. And always a joy talking to you. So, and yeah, I can't wait to either come see you or have you back in North America so we could go to Disney again.
All right, man. Awesome. Thank you very much, Fong. You made my day as well. Always a pleasure having you. So, guys, that's it. This is another episode of Conversation with Successful Entrepreneurs, and I will see you next week. Have a good night. Bye-bye.